Wouldn't the world be a better place if we could just play the natural angle on every single shot and just shoot the ball center ball 100% of the time and never ever use English at all? Yep, the world would be a better place. But that's completely unrealistic, although that's what you should strive for. To never ever need English. Alright, before we start, I highly recommend getting the cue that you're going to use forever, right now. And just stick with that cue. Find a cue that you like, do all your research, try other people's cues, and figure out, dial in exactly what you want. And spend about $400 getting a good straight cue that you love and will never ever part with. The woman of your dreams, the one, or the man of your dreams, the one you're going to marry and spend the rest of your life with. That's it. No more looking for pool cues. Get the pool cue you want. The second thing I'm going to say is to get your pool stroke straight. None of what I say in this video is going to make a speck of difference in your pool game if your stroke is not straight. In fact, it's going to do nothing but screw up your entire pool game, and you're going to cuss me for the rest of your life. Yeah. Yep. The rest of your life. Because if you use what I'm about to say, even if your stroke is the straightest it's ever been in the whole world, your game's still not going to be at the highest level it could be, because you started with all these bad habits from having a bad stroke, and you're accidentally putting English on the cue ball, and you're learning how to aim. It's all wrong, but I'll explain all that as the video progresses. Y'all ready? Consistency is the key to great pool. The more certain you are about what's going to happen with the cue ball when you shoot the shot, the better pool player you're going to wind up being. English is all about gaining the right position. It is never ever about making balls. It's always about gaining the right position on the following shot. And I've probably said that a dozen or more times on this channel, but I never really elaborated. It was always like, look, just trust me, okay? Just believe me, I know what I'm talking about. But this time, with this video, I'm going to get a little more into it and discuss a little bit why this is such a vital fact. I spent half my life learning English and half my life trying to figure out how to never need English. The big problem with English is that it comes with deflection. When we hit the cue ball off center, it changes the path of the cue ball to the object ball. Put right hand English on it, and it deflects the path of the cue ball to the left. You put left hand English, it deflects the path of the cue ball to the object ball to the right. So if you're going to be using it, and if you're a pool player, you're going to be using it, you're going to have to learn how to aim while putting English on the cue ball. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, so let's rip it all apart and show the newer players what exactly English is and why you want to use it, and when you want to use it, and how you want to use it. And you veteran players, just bear with me here. There's something for you to know here, and it comes a little bit closer to the end of the video, so just be patient. Let's look at center ball first, and if we shoot straight through this diamond on the right hand rail, the cue ball should come back to the other side of the table and hit the same diamond on the left hand side rail. If that doesn't happen and it doesn't hit the same diamond on the left hand side rail, then you're unintentionally putting English on the cue ball, or you're just simply misaiming the cue ball. Keep working on it until you're hitting center cue ball and it's coming straight back to the other diamond. If we look straight down at the cue ball from the top, from the light, from the top of the table straight down, we can see this cue ball is doing nothing but rolling forward like a wheel, like a bicycle tire. Now let's put right hand English on the cue ball and keep looking straight down from the light at the cue ball. And look at what the ball is doing. And remember, this is a straight down view of the cue ball, and we can see it spinning like a top in a counterclockwise direction. And we can see when it hits the same exact place on the right hand rail at that diamond, it bounces off, and the entire direction of the cue ball has been manipulated, and that's because of that counterclockwise spin that we put on it. So we have manipulated the natural angle coming off the rail, and we've taken it into our own hands in order to gain position on the following ball. Now let's put left hand English on it and see what happens. And now we see the cue ball spinning clockwise as it goes toward its intended target, which is that diamond on the right hand rail. And when we hit that target, the cue ball comes off the rail and the cue ball goes left off the rail in a left hand angle, and we get a completely different result of the cue ball position. And this is a result of that clockwise spin, grabbing that rail and throwing the cue ball in that direction. Now let's take a look at the shooter's vantage point of the cue ball, and let's go back to right hand English, and we can see that the amount of English that we're putting on the cue ball directly correlates with the angle coming off that rail. And let's just say if we want a regular right hand angle coming off the rail, we just use a regular amount of English. If we just want a little bit of an angle coming off that rail, we just use a little bit of English, maybe a tip over to the right. If we need that angle to be very wide because we need to be near the top of the table, then we use extreme right hand English. The angle is also going to change with the speed of the shot, which complicates everything, and this is why you want to work on getting as consistent as possible with the speed of your stroke. People like to disagree with me, and I don't always take my own advice, but I come from the Buddy Hall School of 9-ball, and if we shoot every shot at the same speed, the path of the cue ball will be much more predictable, and you'll be used to where the cue ball is going simply by using the same speed and different amounts of English on the stroke. Now let's complicate the matter even further, and with the topic of deflection, and when we're done with this, we'll actually add some object balls to further illustrate all these points. With a center ball hit or no English at all, if we aim for the diamond, the cue ball should come back and hit the other diamond, the same diamond on the left-hand side rail. If we put right hand English on the cue ball and we get what they call is deflection, and the ball doesn't actually hit the aiming point or the diamond, it hits a little bit to the left of the diamond, and that's what you call deflection. If we put a little bit of left on the cue ball, the path of the cue ball deflects to the right and we miss the diamond or the target that we're shooting at. Every cue stick deflects at a little bit different rate, and it's imperative for you to know exactly how much deflection you're going to get on your cue ball so you know exactly where to aim that cue ball. Alright, let's set up an actual shot and take a closer look at what's going on. Let's first shoot the shot naturally, no English, center ball, and see exactly what happens. And it's important to know that this angle is exactly the same as this angle. It's just a mirrored and opposite angle. So the cue ball is going to come off this rail at the exact opposite angle that it went into this rail when using no English, and all you're doing is shooting center ball. And let's put the 4 ball right here, and we can see that this is exactly what we want to do with the 3 ball. Shoot it with no English and come off at that angle. And that's great if all you have to do is shoot a stop shot on the 4 or draw the cue ball back off the 4 in order to get on the 5 ball. But what if you don't want to be straight on the 4 because it doesn't help you get on the 5? Or what if the 4 ball is all the way back up table in this position? Let's go back to the 3 ball shot and put the 4 ball up here in the center of the top rail. Or let's take another example. What if the 4 ball is here at the center of the bottom rail? We can agree in either one of these cases that it would be a terrible position to be here on the 4, so something has to change on the 3 ball shot. Let's choose the top rail example first, and we'll come back to the bottom rail example, and let's take it a step further and add the 5 ball right here. The 3 ball shot as it stands is natural center ball, and it's not going to work, so we have to eliminate natural and take the angle off the rail into our own hands and get right on the 4 ball. And you want to be right about here because you need an angle on the 4 to get right on the 5. So we need right hand English to widen the second part of this angle, and it's not mirrored anymore. It's not the same angle that went into the rail. It's way wider, and it's going to get the cue ball in the desired position. We're not putting top or bottom on it, just right. So this angle coming off the object ball stays the same. It's this angle that changes with the English, and it only changes because the cue ball is spinning counterclockwise and grabbing that rail. So let's just eliminate that center ball position and keep the one with the right hand English on it, and let's briefly touch on the subject of deflection. And we know that this is your accurate cue ball aim if you're shooting center ball, but when we're putting right hand English on it, the cue ball is going to deflect a little bit left, and it's going to hit the object ball here, and you'll be lucky if you don't rattle it. So we need to adjust the aiming point a little bit right so it hits the exact center and the same spot that you're going to hit if you're not putting English on it at all. Now, I can't tell you where exactly to aim it because I don't know what cue you're playing with, so I don't know how much it's going to deflect. Only you can know that, so you have to dial in the correct aiming point in order for the cue ball to hit the object ball right here. Let's put the 4 ball up table on the rail in the center of the rail. And let's go back and take a look at center ball position and see what that gives us. And as you can see, center ball isn't going to work, so let's determine where we want to be, and right about here looks right to me. And this is the angle we're manipulating. The angle off the object ball stays the same. It's just that the angle off the rail is greatly sharpened, and we're doing this by putting left hand English on the cue ball. Now, left hand English is going to deflect the cue ball to the right, and we're liable to miss the object ball because it's going to hit here. So to compensate that and to hit the object ball in the right place, we're going to have to aim here. It's going to deflect right, and it's going to hit the right spot. And you know the rest of the story when we wind up here. Now this shot's a little bit trickier than the right-hand English shot that gets sent up table. And that's because that clockwise spin is trying to grab the rail, but it's not only trying to grab the rail and change the direction of the angle, it's also killing the speed of the cue ball. So this has to be shot a little bit harder than the right-hand English shot, but not too hard, because if you shoot it too hard, you're going to lose the English altogether. It just won't take. So you're going to confuse the rail, and it's not going to know what to do. My best advice, set it up and work on it. What else can I tell you? English is an issue that complicates everything. You're best off never using it and keeping everything simple. But we know that's completely unrealistic, and here's where players completely go wrong and wind up with their pool game at a dead end. Keep this in mind: the amount of deflection is a direct result of the amount of English that you're putting on the cue ball. Just keep that in mind for now. And a potentially great player will shoot a shot like this and put English on it, when there's absolutely no valid reason to do that. We're not trying to get the cue ball in any particular position. It's the 9 ball, and there ain't no 10 ball to get on. So we don't have to use it in this case. But they get to a point to where they can't make the object ball without using the English. They don't even know that they're misaiming the cue ball to compensate for deflection. It's just an ingrained mental habit to aim wrong. All they know is that the ball goes in the hole more often when they spin whitey. And this is a typical example. And we'll spin this in with right hand English, usually bottom right. All they have to do is cinch this ball by using center ball, no English at all. But when they try to do that, they miss. And here's why. They started playing with English before they were actually ready and before they had a straight stroke. So when they first started taking the game serious, they didn't work on their strokes. They worked on making balls, and they found out that to do that, they're going to have to put English on the ball. But they didn't do that for the right reason. They did it to compensate for their bad stroke. So instead of fixing their stroke, they started shooting every ball with English. And so here we are today, and their games aren't going anywhere. They hit a dead end because their game is very inconsistent. They're liable to play great for an hour and play like an amateur chump for the next hour. Remember I said the amount of deflection is a direct result of the amount of English you're putting on the ball? Well, let's take the same shot and pull it back a couple feet. With center ball, it's the same exact shot. All you got to do is the same exact thing you did the last time. But when you're putting English on it, everything's going to change. And to top it off, they even hit it harder and they put more English on it and they miss. And this is why their games are inconsistent. Be aware of every single thing that's happening every time you put English on the cue ball. And if you don't need it, don't use it. If you're an APA 6 or 7 and you're shooting English on every single ball, and just to make balls, you're going to have to rip your entire pool game completely apart and relearn how to aim and make balls using no English at all, center ball. And it's going to take some serious work to break your mental habits, but if you want to progress, this is what you're going to have to do. Okay, and I know what you're thinking, top and bottom. Yeah, top and bottom. Because we need a relative base, this is center ball, and this is right hand English. This is center right with no top or bottom. Remember how I said this angle off the object ball stays the same, and it's this angle we're manipulating? Well, when we add top or bottom to the ball, it's this first angle off the object ball that we're now manipulating. Let's reset the 4 ball, and we can see that plain old right hand English ain't gonna cut it. It's going to put us on top of the ball, and if you shoot it hard, you're coming too close to the 4 ball and you're playing with doom. Let's look at the contact point on the left hand rail and decide to shorten it to here and let your stroke out because you just happen to feel frisky, and yep, you could go 2 rails with top right and get right here. What you have done is change that first angle off the object ball. While you can do this, and while I admit to doing it myself just to show off, I don't recommend it, and there's nothing worse than a show off screwing up because you've just shown your ass. A much better, much safer way is to use bottom right, and now you've manipulated the first angle to the other extreme, and we're trying to hit the rail right here to spin it off at a wider angle up table to here. Of course, how you decide to shoot it depends on what other balls might be in your way of the path, but the deciding factor should never be, oh, I feel good, I'm just going to let my stroke out and show off. It's disrespectful to your opponent and borderline stupid to want to make him cry. Seriously, if you want to impress the rail to get the money, that's what they'll never forget, and the party never really starts until you're safely back at the luxury hotel room, toasting to the end of pain. Set balls up and experiment with it, all types of English, and make an ingrained note of what the cue ball is doing, how it's spinning, how much deflection is being put on the cue ball, how things are changing, how the aiming point changes, and everything else, but never ever forget not to need it, because the ultimate goal is to never need it at all. That is what will make you a great, great pool player.